Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Listen, I want us to dive into divorce just a little bit, okay? Not a whole lot. So, Drew Sidora of Real Housewives of Atlanta, it is being reported that Drew Sidora's divorce has been finalized. Now, keep in mind, Drew has not necessarily made a statement about this, so I cannot confirm or deny that it is officially finalized and over, but there has been some conversations around it, and I wanted us to just tap into it for a little bit. And over here I am on the baller alert, and I want to get that up on the screen so you guys can check it out with me. So let me do that. Let me get this up on the screen over here. They're saying it looks like the long drawn out saga between the Real Housewives of Atlanta stars, not stars with the S, that's crazy, but stars Drew Sidora and Ralph Pittman, is finally hitting the finish line after nearly 3 years of a back and forth legal drama and a very awkward nesting situation in the same house. A judge has finally cleared the air on their long awaited divorce. Drew previously expressed how taxing the public nature of the breakup has been, stating that having her divorce records unsealed was like a nightmare for her family, but she is walking away with some major wins as they prepare to close this chapter. All right. They're saying the court has ordered the former couple to sell their marital home and split the proceeds, which means no more living on separate floors of the same mansion. On top of that, the judge shut down Ralph's attempt to get alimony from his estranged wife. If this is true and accurate, shout out to Drew. Because y'all know how much Ralph has gotten on my nerves, okay? And how much he has tried to paint her out to be the villain. Um, and as much as people call Drew out for lying, okay, I want y'all to be as loud about Ralph and his double talking in my personal. And then the fact that I don't know if he was her manager at one point, but I guess he managed some accounts. And it seems like he wanted to get that coin. Right? Now, granted, there was talk about Drew moving some money around or whatever. Okay. Close it down one business, opening up another. But I kind of feel like it's her business. She can do what she want to do. It's her business. But I understand when things can get a bit difficult when it comes to being married and stuff. But he wanted to get some alimony. And I'm so glad that if this is true, that she doesn't have to do all of that, especially have the kids as well. So I gotta have the kids and I gotta still pay you money too. That's just too much, okay? But let's keep going. And I'm sure, let me say this, I'm sure that they would share custody and split payment and stuff, but I just feel away, right? If I gotta sit here and be the primary parent for the children, okay, you gonna do your part, and then I gotta also turn around and pay you. Ugh. But anywho, they're saying despite Ralph claiming he deserved a cut of her income because it allegedly increased during their time on Real Housewives of Atlanta, the judge ruled he earns enough to support himself. So I guess when Ralph was coming to us to let us know, like, hey, I'm not just some dumb guy. I graduated from this really great college. I also specialize in this over here in the corporate world. So when he would tell us certain things that he was into, I guess he wasn't lying on that part, right? So Ralph was doing great for himself, right? So the judge said he made enough to support himself. They go on to say, reflecting on the split, Drew once told People, I was hoping for an amicable divorce, and this ruling ensures that she won't be paying him to move on. The judge also made a final call on the children, granting the pair joint custody and tossing out Ralph's request for full custody. This decision aligns with Drew's previous claims that her children were her primary concern throughout the litigation. She has been vocal about the emotional toll, once explaining it was just a culmination of things that should not happen in a marriage, which ultimately led her to the courthouse. With the custody and financial issues out of the way, the court has circled April 2026 as the date to officially finalize the divorce. So I guess, if this is true, two things are true. She hasn't made the announcement just yet because it hasn't fully been finalized, and I guess if he doesn't try to contest something, maybe we'll hear that in April, which is interesting because I think the show will be back. So I'm sure we're going to still be seeing all of this as it plays out, and she'll likely be speaking on it at the reunion at that time. All right, but shout out to Drew. I'm really glad that it worked out in her favor ultimately, because I do feel like Ralph played on her top on TV. Okay, I also think that Ralph at some point, in my personal, I think Ralph is going to regret this decision. I do. I do. I do. I feel like he always tried to make her out to be the problem. But as we watched the show, for me, it was clear that Ralph was the problem. Didn't really want to do therapy for real. Right? He kind of gave off that she couldn't really express herself. It was always about kind of like what he wanted in a sense, or he'll be dismissive to her feelings. Like, people get tired of that. Okay? I'm not here to just hear what you got going on. Okay? What about what she got going on? Right? So it is what it is. I'm glad that this is finally coming to an end for both of them. And that he could get up out that basement and go find him a spot, since he makes enough to support himself. Now, I did not read where he will be paying any child support. So it looks like he may not be paying child support, but they will have joint custody. But I do wonder what that looks like and how Drew feels about that, right? Because it could be that the kids go with him every weekend. It could be, 2 weeks out the month. How does that work? Is it every other week that they go? Or do you get them the first 2 weeks out the month that he got to get them the last 2 weeks? I just wonder how she feels about that. You know what I'm saying? But and then it's becoming reality, because although Ralph was living down there in that basement, he still would come upstairs, and what would happen? They still would have family meals and stuff together. Now it's becoming reality that y'all will be leaving out of this home, selling this home, right? Which is kind of a good thing. I'm sure the house is worth a lot of money. Hopefully they'll be able to get something back, based on, what they sell the house for. Hopefully they get a good amount back. But I'm just wondering how she's feeling, what she's thinking, because it's a reality that y'all not gonna be in the same house. He ain't finna him downstairs is not going to be coming upstairs to have family meals with you for 4th of July. And maybe they might, right? They might still do that, because at the end of the day, the goal is still to maintain a family ship, even if they're not together. So maybe they'll be better friends than they are lovers. And they still could schedule some family time when it's time for those holidays and stuff. I wonder. Or is it going to be, oh, I'll get them for Christmas and you get them for Thanksgiving? Or are they going to always try to do it together? That's going to be interesting. Now, Drew and Kelly got into it, and Kelly said something about, she told Drew something about, get a man that actually wants you. I feel like that's so disrespectful to say to somebody when they're going through a divorce and you just went through a divorce, girl, because I feel like the same thing that you said about Drew could be said for you. That's not nice. But aside from that, with Drew in this dating situation, Drew told her, listen, I am not dating anybody. I'm going through a divorce, and I'll be officially dating somebody or whatever once my divorce is finalized. While you over here talking about get somebody that actually wants you or whatever. She's like, girl, I don't want nobody that's trying to be serious or want me like that. Girl, I'm trying to finalize this divorce so this man don't find another reason to use something else against me. Okay? Listen, this is Drew versus Kelly is about to be crazy. I am praying that there is no K Michelle versus Drew. I could see a little piece of the ladies trying to be messy and create some drama between K Michelle and Drew, because they're both singers and trying to put their vocals against each other or whatever. Let's not. I really don't want to see K Michelle in any beef. And I love me some K Michelle. I do not want to see her in any beef. I feel like a lot of the fans may be ready to drag her based on how she's shown up on Love and Hip Hop. So I pray she is not in any beef or give people any reason to want to say anything about her. Okay, but y'all gonna do that anyway, because that's just how y'all is, period. And I really don't want to see Drew beefing with nobody, because y'all know I really do like Drew. I do not care. I really do like Drew. So I don't really want to see her beefing, but I know she's going to be beefing with Kelly. That's very clear. And it's unfortunate too, because Drew never started with Kelly. Kelly piggybacked off of a beef with somebody else who was in their feelings about a situation that didn't have nothing to do with them. right? And made this a whole thing. So it's very unfortunate. I hate that it's happened, but I'm glad that Drew is at this place where things are starting to work out as far as her divorce finally being finalized. Okay. So congratulations to her. Now, the next thing I want to tap into really quickly, as we're talking about divorce and everything, is Jeannie Mai. Jeannie Mai sat down with Question Everything HQ, and she talked about her marriage and things when it came to Jeezy. Y'all know rapper Jeezy. Y'all know they were married for a little piece of time, ended up having a beautiful daughter together, and divorced. And it was like the divorce, it was messy. It was a bit messy, okay? She's accused him of things. He's accused her of things. And I was more so Jeannie Mai. And that has not changed for me. I know you're wondering, honey, that has not changed for me. I am leaning on the side of Jeannie Mai. However, I do see where a lot of the black culture is more so Team Jeezy as a black man. And him being a rapper, you guys being more, finding him more relatable or something of the sort. But let's be clear, some of the stuff Jeannie Mai said about him, like he's shown his ass on all of his baby mamas. He just didn't marry them, from my understanding, okay? And I'm not saying that Jeezy is a completely bad guy. I don't know Jeezy to know that. However, history reports show that he's not that fantabulous as people try to make him out to be. Okay. And people were over here making Jeannie the villain. And I just want to tap into just a few. I'm going to go over here onto Question Everything HQ just to check out some of the things that Jeannie Mai may have spoken to about her marriage. Okay. So let's tap into this first one here.
But divorce is just, it's experiencing death alive.
You've experienced divorce without kids and then with kids.
Yeah.
I'm curious which one feels harder.
Divorce is heartbreaking no matter what. It's one of the greatest pains that any human has to endure, honestly. And I'm sure there's many people who can tell me, oh my God, are you kidding, girl? Like, I love my divorce. There's that side too. At the same time, divorce is also the greatest awakening. So it's like, would you rather be sleeping so peacefully and never feel the awakening?
Yeah.
I can't tell everybody that. No, but it's not to deny that it's not heartbreaking. It's absolutely both. So children aside, I was heartbroken both for me and the partner in many different fragments, like imagining, a vase just shattering. There's no way to put together the pieces. At the same time, I actually thank God for this all the time. I am so lucky that Monaco was only one when this happened. So she's not going to remember what that turmoil was like. And she's not going to. Like, that's not something I want her to ever have to think about. My job is to define peace for her. So she's going to get that. It's a wreckage on everybody. So I think the majority is going to say with children, it's harder. But divorce is just, it's experiencing death alive.
Let me get into one more.
I got married at 26.
Okay.
And for me, that was too early. But I stayed for 10 years. And I don't even want to say stayed. Like, I was married for 10 years. And we eventually grew apart. But that part of my life was really learning marriage and being committed as this wife and like, how do I make this work? And we had two very completely different lives and all these things, but we just grew apart. It literally was just that, because as you know, at the age of 35, it's a very different time in a woman's life than anything in your 20s. And so I was only single at 35 for like maybe a year or so. And then I got into my next relationship. So taking from my own advice, I never really got to be single since I was like in my early 20s.
Yeah.
So that's why this like moment is Disneyland for me.
All right, you guys. So you all just heard what Jeannie had to say. Okay. And with that, let me go ahead. Okay. And with that, what I want to say is I saw a lot of comments over there on it's on site. And a lot of people were like dragging Jeannie in the comments. People were saying, oh, girl, well, you pretty much had two marriages and both of the guys divorced you. Clearly, you're the problem. It was other things that they were saying about her, but it's like you could tell who didn't really know Jeannie or wasn't familiar with Jeannie, is what I'll say, from her being on the reel and stuff, and the drama surrounding that first situation. The first situation, that man had cheated on Jeannie. Okay, for the people that are not aware. In addition, Jeannie and that man went into a marriage where Jeannie did not want any children. He didn't either. Then he got to this place where he did want children. I can imagine so. Like, if you're with the person for 10 years, I would expect one or both of you to shift your mindsets on having children within that time span, right? And so he wanted children, and Jeannie still did not want any kids. And then maybe it was that she didn't want no kids with him. Not sure. So he went on and he was doing whatever he did. And I think he got with this lady. And I think that lady ended up getting pregnant either while he was still married to Jeannie or as they were like, separated or something like that. But it was like a whole big old drama thing about that. I mean, him and his current wife were online, like antagonizing her. Like it was a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think Jeannie said a whole lot of too much of nothing, but it was like y'all over here being on her head top about it. But that last husband wasn't necessarily in the right. You know what I'm saying? And then you're upset with her because she no longer wants to have kids. Well, I can't even say no longer because she never wanted them. And because you changed your mind and you wanted them, that's on you. Now I'm thinking about this soap opera that I love to watch called Beyond the Gates. When I think about this couple on the show and one of the husbands want a child, the other one don't. But anywho, the wife doesn't really want no kids. But anywho, all in all, you're upset with her because her mindset hasn't changed. So you decide to tiptoe out the relationship. Yeah, y'all should be over. And then I think Jeannie had to give him some money because they were married for oh so long and she had the success. Child, ain't that something? That's the part that I would just cringe at. To know that you were married to a person, you ended up becoming successful, right? Maybe when they got together, she didn't know she was going to be successful like the way that she ended up being. So maybe there was no prenup, who knows, whatever. But to be in this relationship with a person and then they end up doing you wrong inside of the relationship, you guys break up and then you have to pay them money. Every time I think about that, the first person that comes to mind is Mary J. Blige. Oh, I just cased. Oh, okay. So then you get to take her money and then go on and live in La La Land with the next BIT and probably the BIT that you messed around on her with. Okay, similar to Wendy Williams, just a little piece. Just a little piece with her, but she agreed to that as well, though. With Wendy Williams, she did agree to that amount that she was going to continue to pay that husband. And he was over there getting money up until Sabrina Morisi stepped in, okay, to take the rest of the lady money, allegedly, honey. But, yeah, he was over there living in La La Land with the other lady. It's just crazy. But anywho, yeah, so I see a lot of people in the comments being really hard on Jeannie Mai. And I'm just like, well, that's not nice. That's not nice to be hard on her like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, I can see if you sharing fault on both sides, okay? And maybe Jeannie was not right. Like, I believe there was something that Jeezy said about her wanting to move her mother and her brother into the house and stuff. I don't think that's cool. If you talk to your partner and they say, hey, I'm not cool with that, and you do it anyway, or if you don't talk to your partner at all and you just do that, like, she was wrong for that. She was wrong for that. Jeannie, girl, you was wrong for that. If you did not consult with him and you just trying to move and force your family on him in a sense, especially if he was the one paying for most of the things, that's not cool in my personal, because I know I wouldn't appreciate that, right? So I'm sure there is shared fault on both sides, but the way the people have been dragging her in the comments, it has been crazy. But listen, I just wanted to bring these two stories to you guys to chat about for a quick second. I want you guys to hop down in the comments and let me know your thoughts and your perspective about everything that we just got into. Of course, I am Jamie, that's me. Please make sure that you like and you subscribe, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Tell him I preach to the choir. Stand with my feet to the fire. Give all the glory to God. Stand in the midst of these haters, I'm silent, nobody can stop me. Just gotta check in my notification, them numbers hit like it's a proxy. Cashed out at the ATM, and the ATL, they done made a gym. I've been kicking doors like the ATF, got them trying to clone me like Agent Smith. Game time, I invaded gym, high elevated, I can face the rim. Putting shots up, I got laser focus, about to take it over, I'm Invader Zim. On a trip to Florida like it's A&M. Who that nigga, man, they say I'm him. Spit the truth, never wasting film, I can feel the pool.